Welcome to this November 20 release webinar. My name is Laurens Wapenaar. I'm the Technical Business Analyst at FinDock. And with me in the Q&A is Stefan van der Knaap, our Product Manager. Everything we're talking about is currently in Sandboxes for you to test and to try it out. And it will move to production on Sunday night, the 15th of November. This is what I want to talk about today. There's three main new features or existing features that I want to highlight and show you. The first is giving pages, which will move to beta, which we're very excited about. This means that it's open to everyone in Sandboxes currently and in production later to try out, to test, to give feedback on. And it's also, I'll show you later what it looks like and what we hope you can use. The second is I'd like to give some updates on our other beta, the enhanced online payment experience with API v2. We'll talk a bit and we'll look a bit at our new Edgin for FinDock packages. And I'd like to go over the bugs and enhancements that we've also put in this release. So let's first talk about Edgin. What we've implemented is an Edgin feature or architecture that's called Edgin Paybar Link, which gives you configurable hosted payment pages. As you see in the screenshot, we have our FinDock logo here, but you can also change the color of the backgrounds and lots of other things. It has support for a lot of payment methods. For now, we've implemented credit card, ideal, so forth, and Bancontact out of the box with FinDock. And in the future, if it helps you, we'll add more. This package also has multi-merchant support, which means you can use multiple Edgin accounts with FinDock, which you can configure separately in our setup. And we have this for a few packages, and Edgin is one of them. And it also has multi-currency support. So if you have multi-currency available in your Salesforce environment, you can use that with FinDock and Edgin together, and your customers can pay in different currencies. One thing I'd like to highlight is that that the Edgin Pay by Link feature does not have Edgin Moto, so that's also no longer available with FinDock at this point. I will show you more of Edgin later when we go to the demo of FinDock giving pages. For now, I'd just like to keep it at this. Then let's talk about our pilot with enhanced online payment experience. Before we go into details, I'd like to go over our three pilots again: our enhanced online payment experience with API v2, FinDock giving pages, and Go Cardless for FinDock. In October, we moved giving pages to beta, and it still is, but we'd like to move it to general availability in January, when we finish the last feedback items and we're sure that it's ready for general use, and we're pretty close to that. So in this release, we have some new features for that, and in January, we'd like to take it GA. Like I said previously, giving pages moves from pilot to beta, and this is the phase where we want to, where we're confident that it's a good product, but we still want more feedback, and we want to make sure that it works perfectly fine for all our customers, and then we will move it to GA once we have enough feedback, and we want to give you some time to try it out. So we will not move it to GA in January yet, to give everyone the time to have a look and to provide us with feedback on what they think is cool. And Go Cardless is planned to go to beta in January. We do not have a release in December, because we know for a lot of our customers, this is a very busy period when it comes to their income. And also, we know capacity is always a bit lower, so we like to keep things stable around then. So our next release will be in January. So let's talk about enhanced online experience, and specifically the version 2 of our API. We have done several smaller and larger things that I quickly go over. This is a bit of a technical part, but I'll show you what it looks like in a real environment with the Giving Pages demo. So hold on for that. We have put campaign and origin, which was previously in a Salesforce field grouped part in the API message to the root of the message. We've done this so it's easier to pass campaign and origin fields to attach a campaign to a recurring or a one-time donation when you create a payment through our API. The second thing we've done is we've provided you with friendly names and friendly images for specific parameters of the API. So for instance, in the Netherlands, we have a payment method that's called Ideal, which is basically an online bank transfer where you can select a specific bank to pass over the hosted payment page of the payment service provider, like Molly, and directly go to your bank screen. And previously, we've only had these slightly uglier values, and now we also give you this nicer label and an image that you can show to your user. The benefit of this is that you don't have to provide this nice label and the image yourself, and you can dynamically build your form. What that would look like, I'll show you later. We've also added a new description parameter, which look like this, for direct debit and a selected few other payment methods. And this is a description parameter that for online payment methods is shown on the hosted payment page. And for direct debit, it's shown on the often on the bank statement, which is usually very important to make it a nice message because your users are going to see it always. And we've added a specific parameter there, where previously you'd had to override this custom in Salesforce with the flow or some other customization to make it look nice. This works out of the box with all the sources, which include Converse and FPSP. I'll show you later a bit of what these things look like. So for the API and enhanced online experience, we have to migrate all our payment service provider packages one by one. And currently in this release, we've added Edgin. Swiss Payments is now also available, and so is Xserve. The packages on the right still need to be migrated, and we plan to do that before we move to GA. So that's so that was the technical part. Now let's move on to Giving Pages, which will move from pilot to beta, which means that it's available to everyone now. And in the pilot phase, based on feedback from our pilot customers, we've done a few things. We've redesigned our payment form. We've improved the ease of use of the page builder from where you create pages. We've added a few settings and we fixed several bugs. But rather than talking about this, I'd like to show you this. And that means it's demo time. So this is a FinDock Giving page that I've created previously. As you see here on the left, we have a payment form. On the right, we have a title and space for additional text, same as on the bottom. And these are all elements that you can change or remove or update from Salesforce. As you see, I've chosen a very standard text here, but you can, of course, put any text that you want in any color that you want. But let's say before we go into this form, I still want to update some things. Now, one of the things I think is a bit much is this FinDock orange, to have that everywhere here on the page. So let's change that color to something less specific. Like I said, you can change all this from Salesforce. Here I have our FinDock setup. And as you'll notice in your Sandbox environment, there's a new tile here called Giving Pages. If you click that, you will move on to the Giving Pages Manager, which is basically your overview of your domain here, which you can choose yourself. As you see, I've chosen my own name here. And all the giving pages that you have. You can create a lot of pages here. I just have 2, but you could also create 1 for every campaign you're running. Maybe that's 10 or 20. You can create a page for each and every one of them. The page that we want to change is called, well, save the page in this case. And we can change it by going to what we call the Pages Builder. Now, the Pages Builder is where you control what's viewed on the front end, but also whether additional data is stored and what's happening in the payment form. On the left, you see the structure of the page, which you can use to see what the page consists of and to open the page settings of a specific element on the right. For instance, if I want to change the settings of the payment form, I can click here, and on the right, you'll see that the payment form settings open. The same settings you can open by clicking the element in your page builder. So if I click on the payment form here, you see it also opens the setting. If I click on this title, the same happens. And that's also for this text. You can also change the general page settings, like the fave icon, which is this little icon here, through the page settings. Now let's hide this page structure on the right to get a better view of what our page will look like in reality, and open the settings of the payment form and change the color here. Now let's change this to I think a dark blue would be nice. Which would be this color for FinDock. We save our changes. We save our changes. We refresh our page. And now you'll see that all of the orange items are now dark blue. You can quickly click through this form, which is a real version of the form that we have on the background, to see what it looks like and a bit of how it behaves. Now, once it's saved, we publish our update. And here on the right, we can go to the page to see that now everything that was orange before is now dark blue. Now, let's say we don't want to change what the form looks like, but maybe what payment methods are shown to our users. This can also be done from the page builder. So in the page builder, we go to payment form settings. You see here on the right, you see the amounts and frequency menu, which are these. And also they can be different for one time and for monthly. You see personal detail settings here, which is what happens on the second page. So whether we show a last name, yes or no, whether we ask for a birth date, which we added in the pilot phase, and also whether these things are mandatory, yes or no. But I want to talk about payment methods here, which is this section. And that basically configures what we see on the last payment method page, which I'll show you later. So let's configure payment methods. And as you see, here we have one-time payments and recurring payment methods. Now, we can remove payment methods here, or we can add them. I'd like to show you Edgin here. let's say Edgin credit card, so forth, and bank contact, which are one-time payment methods. And I also want to switch from Stripe to Edgin for recurring credit card. And you can see here in the bottom, the payment methods are also added. If they have specific parameters, then you can also change the labels that we use for them, whether they are visible to your end user, whether there's a default value, whether they are required. The same as with the personal details, you can basically set everything here. But I'm happy with the defaults. So I'm saving this. I'm saving my payment form again. I'm publishing my update. And now we're done. So let's make a donation here. Let's choose 40 euros. We go to the next page. Like I said, I've made all these mandatory, but you can make them non-mandatory. I need to fill all this, of course. Down here, we show a data privacy warning with a link to the outside. Maybe there's a page where you have more detailed information, which is also something you can edit. And then we go next. Now, I talked very briefly about the nice labels and the nice images for Ideal Molly or Ideal in the Netherlands. And as you can see, if I select Ideal here, which is a default payment method. So I chose Ideal as my default payment method. This could have been credit card or bank contact, but in the Netherlands, when we talk about one-time online payments, Ideal is absolutely the first one that people think about. So that's by default. And as you can see here, I can choose a bank. Now, if I open this, you'll see the labels here are exactly as the branding of these banks require. And we also have an image here that identifies them. Now, this is not something I set in my front end in Pages, but it is something that was provided by the FinDock API and can also be used by your own web forms to dynamically build this selection list. And this means that if we add a bank, you do not have to change your web form. You do not have to change the code. Basically, it's dynamically added. And basically, our API says, well, we have a new bank here, or maybe a bank is removed. And these images are also shown. But instead of Ideal, I want to show you Edgin. I want to show you an Edgin credit card. So we select credit card here. We can change this label as well if we want, just like this label. Or this label, basically everything is configurable in the page builder if you want to change the language, for instance. So let's go to donate. We will be redirected to the Edgin hosted payment page, which you can configure from Edgin. And here we need to add a credit card number and an expiry date. And we can pay with this credit card and we are redirected to our form. So this is basically FinDock giving pages. All this data is stored through our API in Salesforce and can be reported on or used for follow-up journeys and whatever you would like to do in Salesforce with Salesforce data. So let's go back to our slides. If you want to know more about FinDock giving pages, you can find it on our website. Or if you want to know how to configure it, you can find it on our documentation website. Okay. So those are the bigger things. We also have some very nice bugs and enhancements. I'd like to talk specifically about guided matching. So we think that making sure that payment data gets into Salesforce, whether it's through giving pages or your own web form or another way, get into Salesforce correctly. And our engine for that is called guided matching, which we continually improve. So we added a few things here. but I'd like to highlight that we now recalculate formulas after every guided matching rule is executed, which means that you can use formula rules as entry criteria for guided matching rules. So you can use formula fields in Salesforce to dynamically say, well, this rule has to be executed and this one does not have. This is actually a tip for one of our partners who figured this out, and we think it's a very interesting way to use guided matching, so we've added that as a feature. Also, a thing I'd like to highlight is that now, previously when one record in a guided matching job with several records failed, the whole job failed, and now it's just the one record failing. So we don't fail 200 records at once that you have to go to and recalculate. Since we think that inbound data and guided matching is so important, our CTO wrote a blog together with Salesforce, which you see on the right, about the importance of inbound data and doing it correctly and what you can do with that data. So I encourage you to visit this blog on the Salesforce website and tell us what you think. Tell us how you think about how we should deal with inbound data and what you think we can improve there. Furthermore, there's several bugs and enhancements more that we fixed. All of them can be found in our release notes in detail. But also here I'd like to highlight, we fixed an issue with mandates for one-time direct debits that were missing, which filled the collection of these mandates. And for gift aid users, we now store the details about the gift aid submission on a payment hub file record. So you can check and see what has been sent to HMRC and whether that's what you expected the system to do. Also for the Swiss market, we've added 2 more payment methods: post-finance card, which can be used for one-time and recurring payments, and post-finance e-finance, which can be used for one-time payments. A complete overview of payment methods can now be found in both our fact sheet and on our docs website. So you can go to docs.findock.com/payment methods. And here we give you a full overview of all payment methods and payment processors and their characteristics, like one-time pay, whether they can be used for one-time or recurring, whether we do review funds, whether it's multi-merchant, the processor, and whether you can use them with several currencies. Just for convenience, so you can check like what do I use with what and what do I implement when and how. Details can always be found on our documentation website in the release notes. So if you want to know more, you can read them again or contact us with your questions. So these were the things I wanted to talk about with you. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'll keep this meeting open a bit, answer your questions that you might have. For everyone else, thank you for joining, and hopefully we'll see you next time.